Hey guys, it's Bailey. Welcome back to the channel. It is time for some monthly favorites. I want to talk about all the beauty products I've been loving in the month of April. Ooh, what I'm not loving are these bangs. Have you ever this is just one of those days. It is not a good bang day. Personal fun fact, personal pet peeve, I have like the tiniest little obnoxious widow peak, and this is as long as these hairs get. So I'm constantly having to tuck them under. I can't tell you how many times I start and stop videos because it's just not tucked right. Okay, I digress. Let's talk about what I'm actually loving this month. First, I want to talk about eyeshadow bases. There are a few I have been, well, mainly two that I've been loving, but two others that I want to talk about. The first of which is NYX's High Definition Eyeshadow Base. This I used in a tutorial recently and you guys asked for a review. I don't think it's that new. I haven't really been compelled to like crank out a review on it yet because I don't think it's that new of a product. And so, spoiler alert, I loved it enough to put it in my favorites. It does everything I think a primer should do. It's a cream primer. So you apply it with the doe foot wand, then I just blend out with my finger. And even though it's not opaque, it evens out the lid so that eyeshadows lay nicely over it. The formula is such that it gives you a little bit of time to work with it. It remains a little tacky, so that if you're working with a pigment or a looser bound eyeshadow, you can really pat it and pack it on. Otherwise, once it sets, it is set for good throughout the day. No creasing, fading, any of that kind of stuff. It does everything an eyeshadow primer should do. The other primer I want to talk about that I've been using are the NYC City Proof 24-hour eye primers, and the one in particular that I've been using a lot is Universal. It too is kind of like a non-existent, it's just very sheer. It's called Universal because even though it has kind of a light flesh tone tint when you apply it, it sheers out into nothingness, and kind of like that NYX primer, once you shear it out, you have a little bit of time to work with it before it finally dries down, and then anything you put over it is set. I am actually wearing this black shade in New York at Night on as the base on my lid, and even though these are called eyeshadows, I wouldn't necessarily wear them solo. This black is a little bit patchy, so the way I applied it is I applied it directly to my lid, and then I used a brush to blend it all out, make sure there weren't any harsh edges in that crease area. But once I did that, I found that it would still remain a little bit patchy. Still, I have been wearing these eyes for at least 6 hours at this point, and no creasing, fading, smudging, nothing. So I would use these more as colored bases rather than cream eyeshadows, but still, if you prefer a stick over a cream primer like the NYX, these are a great way to go, and they're super affordable. These are brand new from NYC. I found them in like the What's New section at my drugstore, and I had to pick up, I have three colors, the black, the Universal, and a white, which is called Rockefeller Center Snowflakes, because I figure the black and the white are two very basic base shades that aren't too out there, but they can still radically transform the color payoff of your eyeshadow. Next up for the eyes, this was definitely a fast favorite because I just recently talked about it in my Sephora VIB haul, is the Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye Contour Palette. And despite thinking that this was going to be kind of like just another matte palette that they had put a different marketing spin on by calling it an eye contour kit, I am in love. These, and I said this in the haul video, that what makes it unique is that it is kind of like having the Naked Basics 1 and 2 all in one palette, plus you have a little bit more of a shade spectrum because you have these gorgeous orangey reds and even some cooler taupes. But basically, these shadows are completely amazing, super smooth and buttery. I find that when I'm not using it as my everyday color in my crease, I'm wearing them alone because I just love the way that it completely, like how sophisticated a completely matte eye will look. Slap a black winged liner on, which I've been wearing in a lot of videos recently, and call it a day. It's just a super simple, easy, but very classic and clean looking eye. I'm loving this palette. To contrast that, however, are some colored shadows. These are the NYX Prismatic shadows, which I reviewed probably 2 months ago at this point. The shades that I talked about there were these Jaded, which is a gorgeous metallic green, deep kind of emerald or forest green, and then Liquid Gold, which is a I think I said this in the review, but I consider it more of a coppery, almost bronzy coppery. Regardless, they're beautiful. And in that video, I said I was gonna buy more. I did. The two shades that I got were Mermaid, which is this beautiful, it looks like this neon mint or turquoise in the pan. And then I got Frostbite, which looks like it would be kind of a muted silver. These two, where I was shocked at how these perform. These aren't pigmented in the same way as the first two I tried. They, for starters, Frostbite actually has this pinky purple shift. I'm wearing it on the center of my eyes right now. I mean, that's how dramatic the difference is. I was just so surprised and really pleased when I tried this out. And then the same kind of goes for Mermaid. This is really more of an iridescent neon mint. So even though it looks super, super bright in the pan, you can build it to this brightness, but I have been loving, in fact, I'll flash a picture up right now of a tutorial you're gonna see soon of where I use this in the center of the lid, and it really doesn't overwhelm the look. It just looks like a subtle iridescent teal. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I have been loving these. Next is a lip product. It's an oldie but a goodie. It's the e.l.f. Moisturizing Lipstick. I think this isn't a favorites, good grief, at least a year ago, probably over a year ago. I keep coming back to it though. You can see in that lipstick storage container, I think I have all of the moisturizing lipsticks I have from e.l.f. And as I do my makeup before I'm filming, I always do the eyes first, never knowing what lip I'm gonna come up with. And every time that I'm finished with the eyes, the face is complete, I'm looking for the lip, I kind of peruse that little thing back there. This is always the one I come up with because the nudes are a little bit too nude, too orangey, the brights are a little bit too bright for the look I'm going for. This has just always been the magical pink for me. It is in the shade Wink Pink, and I got nothing but good things to say about it. As far as moisturizing lipsticks go, it does exactly what I think you would want one to do. It's moisturizing, obviously, but it's also very pigmented. It goes on smoothly, very opaquely at first swipe, yet it doesn't dry out your lips. It lasts a nice amount of time. It's not completely matte finish, but I also wouldn't say it's super saturated and glossy either. It's a happy medium. It's almost a Your Lips but better shade on me, but a little bit pinker. Next up is a nail favorite, and you might be surprised to find that it is not a press-on. It's actually a, well, it's a top coat. So I just made my favorite press-ons, how-tos, favorite techniques, yada yada, all about press-ons. You can check that video out in the info bar below. But on the rare occasion that I do paint my nails, I have to have JulieG's JetSet Quick Dry Top Coat. I used to be a Seche Vite girl, but I hated how gloopy it got towards the end of the bottle. I could never get all the way through the end of the bottle. I don't know, you can put it, if not nail polish thinner or something else in there to help, or like there's, I think Seche Vite might actually make something to put it. I didn't want to mess with it. Bottom line is I hated that I couldn't get all the way through it. The smell was obnoxious, so I thought I would give this a go. I was in Rite Aid one day and it was very, very affordable, so I picked it up and have been loving it ever since. It looks and acts exactly like every other top coat, leaves a nice shine on your nails, but it seriously dries incredibly fast, the fastest I've ever had a top coat dry, and it doesn't affect the wearing time. Actually, now that I think about it, I have had this on for 2 days now, which might be laughable to some people, but I'm not kidding. The reason I wear press-ons is because my natural nails leave a lot to be desired to begin with, but it's because nail polish doesn't stay on my nails. So to spend the time painting and waiting for it to dry, I just can't be bothered, and so it's rare that I do this, but this makes it so worth it when I do. And in case you are wondering, because I always am the worst at putting this in the info bar and answering people who ask on the comments, this is the shade I'm wearing. It's this kind of cornflowery blue by the brand LONDONTOWN Lakur, and it's in the shade Chuffed to Bits. It's a recent favorite. I didn't want to include it in the favorites video because I literally got it days ago, but I've really been liking it. I think it's gonna be a favorite for summer. I got the entire spring launch, and this was the shade that just called my name right off the bat, so that's what I'm wearing. And last is a hair favorite. Actually, I have two hair favorites, but talk about this one first. It's the Nuance by Salma Hayek Texture Enhancing Finishing Spray. It performs a lot like a dry shampoo. You apply it to dry hair. It's supposed to wick up any excess oil, kind of refresh your day, 1 day old, 2 day old hair. But unlike any dry shampoo I have tried, I can actually apply this root to tip, and it's not gonna leave any sort of white cast. It's not gonna leave that kind of gritty, frizzy feel to my hair. I can spray this pretty stinking liberally all over. I tend to do it whether it's freshly cleaned hair to give my hair a little bit of extra texture and hold for when I'm curling it, to day old, 2 day old, you name it. I've sprayed this on it, and unlike dry shampoo, like I said, doesn't give you that white cast and just doesn't leave it as kind of sticky gritty. It gives it a little bit of cling, but just enough to hold style and not enough to like get all wrapped up in itself. So I am blowing through this crazy fast. I think I've had this for all of a month, and I am probably 2/3 of the way through it, so this will quickly end up in my beauty graveyard. And the last favorite is my hair. You will notice in the last few videos I've been having decent hair days, and that's because it hasn't been my hair for the most part. I have a video coming up on this in the future, like after this video post, but I wanted to quickly include this in my favorites because I have been loving this hair. It's from Beauty Works. They were kind enough to allow me to pick 2 different pieces or products from their website, and so I picked extensions. These are the 20-inch deluxe extensions, and there are 3 wefts. One's a 3-clip two are 4 clips, and so I have all of them in my hair right now. It gives a ton of length, a little bit of extra volume in some of the videos though. The videos where it's been like boom, huge amounts of hair, that is actually a hair piece, and I will show you how to apply it in that video. But I've been loving both of them. I just find it makes the difference in my hair. I look at older videos when I have like limp, lifeless hair, and it's just like sad. And so yeah, in pretty much all the videos you've seen me in recently, save the one where I was like wearing a bun, I have been wearing these hair extensions and loving them to death. So like I said, you're gonna see another video up here soon, and it's gonna include 2 tutorials in it, like my favorite summer updos, or pretty much my go-to updos for when I have ultra long hair. So be sure and keep an eye out for that video. In the meantime, as always, I would love to hear about your favorites in the comment section below, because it gives me an excuse to try some fun new products. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!